today. You'd never guess what this press conference is about. Never. I'll give you one hint. It's about the fire department. So we are here today to announce something that has been in the works for 14 months now. It's about 14 months. The acquisition of New Bedford's newest ladder truck, the first ladder truck in some 8 years to add to our fleet. And adding a fire ladder like this is a big deal. This is roughly a $1.2 million piece of equipment, a very necessary piece of equipment that will give our firefighters yet another tool in their arsenal to keep our city safe. And most of it speaks for itself. But I wanted to highlight a few things, and I'll call Chief Gomes up to add in a few details, and then Ari Skye, our CFO, to talk about how this piece of equipment fits into our broader capital improvement plan. But I just want to say a couple of things. So, we are across city government modernizing the way we do business, and that requires changes in the way that we manage things, changes in the way that we invest, and a commitment to incorporating new technology into everything that we do. So it runs the gamut. Things like sensors on our snow plows to a new enterprise systems software system in city government that runs all of our computers, to you name it. There's a long list. That also includes new technology in our fire department. As Chief Gomes will tell you, this fire ladder is unique. This is a custom-built piece of equipment to meet New Bedford's needs now and into the future, and it's all about the investment is all about bringing us to a point where we can be ready to meet the city's safety needs, so I'm grateful for the work of our fire department led by Chief Michael Gomes. Our fire department is now one of 3 in the state that has the highest rating in the insurance industry, ISO 1 rating, and the other 2 are Boston and Cambridge, two cities that have an awful lot more in the way of resources than we. And I also want to give a shout out to Ari as well for his hard work in enabling the city to invest in the fire department in ways that the city hasn't literally in generations. So the city right now is investing in its fire department in ways that are largely unprecedented. Again, this is the first ladder truck that the city is acquiring in 8 years. In 2014, we acquired 2 new $500,000 fire engines that have been in service now for a couple of years, less than a couple of years now. Those are the first ones in some 8 years as well. The city has begun the work in designing the first new fire station to be built in the city in 61 years. That'll be in the south end. It's a long time in coming, and the city is slowly transitioning itself off of its federal assistance. When I got into office, some 70 firefighters were supported by a federal grant. We are bringing those firefighters onto the city payroll at considerable expense to the city, but worth it. And we are pursuing a much smaller federal grant to transition us to a point, hopefully in the next couple of years, where we'll have an entire fire department on the city payroll, which will be significant. It's something that we've been able to accomplish without laying off firefighters, and continuing to maintain public safety. So we're very proud of those investments. It really is a mark of this administration's determination to elevate the standards and the kinds of services that we offer our citizens, including in public safety. So we'll keep at it. Things are looking up, and we're really proud of the way that things are working out now in the fire department. So with all that, let me call up Chief Michael Gomes to say a few words about the details of this engine. It's a very unique engine, and again, unique to New Bedford, really sort of the first of its kind, and he'll be able to give you chapter and verse on that. Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Shortly after becoming the chief of the New Bedford Fire Department, we entered into a program where we looked at all of our equipment and did an assessment and came up with a 15-year plan of where we are, where we needed to be. What you're seeing behind us is the fruits of that labor with the administrations and Mr. Sky's help. They've actually provided the resources necessary for us to be following that plan, and this is part of that process. What you're seeing behind us is we call a tower ladder. This is the first tower ladder the city of New Bedford actually has. Back in the mid-70s, we had what was called the Firebird, which was an articulating tower. That went out of service in 2006. So this is a game changer for us, though, in that it gives us an increased level of abilities to operate on the fire ground and act accordingly. We have 3 frontline ladder trucks in the city of New Bedford. We have 3 different types so that we can mix and match them based upon the circumstance, and we can meet whatever challenge that comes to us. It was a 2-year process, really, to design this vehicle, because the key was we have to have a vehicle that we're able to use. You'll notice that the basket is off the rear of this truck, unlike many which are in the front. A city like ours that has poles and trees, having the basket in the front of the truck would cause us serious issues in order to be able to get around. We went up to Chelsea and Salem, which had similar trucks, drove around through their cities because they are very similar to us, to ensure that we were going to be able to use it. So this truck has a lot of capabilities that we have not had in a long time, and again, additional tools for our toolbox. As the mayor discussed technologies, I like to kid that the fire department missed the entire 20th century. We've gone from the 19th century right into the 21st century, in that on this truck there's meters for atmospheric issues. There are devices where we can actually track a lost fireman through smoke. There's computers on board so that we actually receive our alarm notifications, and we have data on the buildings actually on board the truck. We have meters for electrical issues. So from a technology standpoint, we're certainly moving full speed into the 21st century. The jaws of life on this vehicle behind us is something new for us. They're actually battery powered, where there are no cords. There's no gasoline power plant that has to get started. It's basically a cordless piece of equipment, multiple pieces of equipment that we can bring out into the field and use effectively. So again, following our long-term plan going forward, we're moving the department in a number of positive directions as far as that's concerned.
Tell them about the Bedford. What was it, the thing?
Again, we did customize the truck itself. When we looked at the trucks that we had, that we saw up in Chelsea and in Salem, one of the things that they do with their 35 and 40-foot ladders is they mount them on the side of the truck. So you lose about 1/3 of the compartment space. So we came up with what we think is an innovative idea and said, how about if we just extend the actual ladder body itself, and we'll be able to get the full-size ladders in full compartmentation. So they said, gee, no one ever asked for that before, but we'll see what we can do. The engineers pulled out their slide rules and did what they do and came up with what you see today, which they now market as the New Bedford mid-mount option. It's the only one like it in the country, but they've actually sold 2 more of them based upon our design. So we're pretty proud of that.
All right, thanks, Mike. I wanted people to know about the New Bedford mid-mount option. No, it's good. I mean, this is, but this is exactly. I mean, it's all right. It's a cool device. It's a cool technology. But I wanted Mike to mention that to you because, it's a good example of how the fire department is forward-leaning and how they're thinking about how to do their job better. And this is what we're trying to cultivate in city government. We're seeing it across city government. We're trying to anticipate problems, trying to figure out how we can serve our residents better, and thinking outside the box. We've got to do it. We've got to do it. The charge from me, from the mayor's office, is let's get better all the time, and it's exactly what's behind that those ideas. So, Mike, I really want to thank you and your team for making that happen. And I want to thank, of course, the fire department for all that you guys do day in and day out. We have, as I said, we have a terrific fire department in our city, and guys really get after it and women, get after it every single day, and make our city a safe place. So I just really want to give a shout out to the members of the department as well. With all that, so none of the other modernization efforts in city government can happen if we can't pay our bills. And so in the last few years, the last 3.5 years or so, we've been We've been guided in our financial planning and decision-making by our CFO, Ari Sky. This acquisition is part of the city's broader capital improvement plan, and it's through that plan that we're able to be able to modernize at the same time save taxpayer dollars. We're having our cake and eating it too in a way, but we can only do it if we're thoughtful about how we spend taxpayer money, and that's where Ari comes in. So Ari, I just want to congratulate you on this acquisition as well and ask you to come up and say a few words.
She's beautiful. Thank you, Mayor, Chief Gomes. So this acquisition is really part of the larger capital program. We are in the third year of our CIP. The first one was introduced late 2013, first year, and then each year it's been updated. Back in January, we unveiled the new CIP, which is a 5-year planning process. It goes from FY16 to FY20. Over the past several years and in this year's bond, there have been a number of improvements to the fire department that have been funded. A couple of years ago, we received delivery on our 2 pumpers. We have the new apparatus here. In the current CIP, there's also an additional additional pumper, I believe, and yes, and another ladder truck as well, going through by the end of the CIP. There's also been a number of facility improvements as well. There's renovations underway in Fire Station 8. Also funded in the CIP this year's bond is a project for Fire Station 5 to replace the roof as well as the apparatus floor in Fire Station 2. You may have heard about the South Public Safety Center. That's a big project, and the idea is to combine Station 6 and Station 11 and build a new joint public safety center that'll house fire, police, and EMS down to serve the South End area. There was planning money for that in this year's budget. Once we know the number and go through that process, there'll be a bond coming for that as well. And then through FY20, there's $2.4 million in the CIP between 17, 18, 19, and 20 to fund repairs to police and fire stations. Some examples would include roof replacements, renovations, and the stations that are on the planning list right now are fire stations 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 9. So, as well the combo for 611. So pretty much everything gets touched in some form or another. This is all part of the sort of this ongoing commitment. If you were to take the facility improvements that have been funded already and add the pumpers that have been funded as well as the ladder truck, it's about $4 million in improvements, new facilities and trucks over the past several years. So that's quite a bit. And that doesn't count command vehicles. About 6 command vehicles replaced as well since 2013. And it's not possible without the CIP. The CIP provides a vehicle that allows us to look at the costs that we have and plan out the debt on those over time. This apparatus, for example, was funded on an 8-year lease purchase, which is perfectly reasonable. They last 10, 15 years or so. So financing it over 8 years hits especially the rates that we're experiencing nowadays, low interest rates, allows you to amortize that cost over time and ease the burden on the taxpayers in any particular year. And that's generally the approach we're taking on all the facility improvements as well as the apparatus. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ari. So I just, it bears emphasizing that the city has not done this sort of thing before. When I say this sort of thing, I mean actually upgrading, certainly not in our lifetimes, upgrading facilities and equipment in a very rapid way like this, but still doing it in a way that's in budget and not foisting too much of a burden on taxpayers. So we're very proud of the planning that's been done, and that's the way we do business down in New Bedford. It's an entirely different approach and one that is producing results. It can't happen, of course, if we don't have the support of the City Council. I want to just thank City Council President Linda Morad and the rest of the City Council for their support of the capital improvement plan, their funding, their authorization of the bonds that make acquisitions like this and the construction of new stations and the repairs of other stations possible. With us today is City Councilor at Large Ian Abreu to say a few words. Ian.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning. Again, from a city councilor perspective, from the entire city council, we are so honored to be here today. And to echo the words of the mayor, 8 years for a new piece of apparatus for this new ladder is 8 years too long. And I'm glad that finally we were able to get these wheels in motion. Look, to be honest with you, you can't put a price on public safety. You can't put a price on a human life. And our taxpayers, our residents, our visitors and tourists who come into this community deserve nothing but the best. And this new ladder is the best. There's no secret that we're an urban core here in New Bedford. This new piece is uniquely designed to be able to maneuver through many of the small streets that we have in New Bedford. As you know, we have a lot of multifamily units here in the city. We have also a lot of one-ways in New Bedford, and this will help maneuver this new ladder in and out much easier as a way and a means to save a life, and that's what this is all about, saving a life. And like I said, our residents and our visitors deserve the best. They already have the best with Chief Gomes and his staff. They do a phenomenal job. But as what the chief said, now they have some new toys to be able to help them get the job done. Congratulations to the chief, to the mayor, and to CFO Sky for leading the charge and getting this done. The city council is here to support this initiative and many others in the upcoming months and years ahead. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ian. I want to acknowledge Inez Gonzalez-Drolet from Congressman Keating's office. Congressman Keating's been a very strong supporter of the fire department. Inez, thank you for being here today. Questions, anybody? All right.
How much longer is it than a regular ladder truck?
Chief?
Overall length on this vehicle is 46 feet, but like if you look at the tiller that runs out of Station 2, that one's 59 feet 6 inches long. This is the present ladder 3. This is probably about 6 feet longer than the present ladder 3, but it brings a different capability by having the actual basket on the end of the ladder. It allows the firefighters to actually ride up into the operation, and if we have to rescue someone, instead of having to carry someone down the ladder, they can step into the basket. So again, it's a game changer for us as far as that's concerned.
All right.